Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Friday night. Thank you guys for being here. You guys can see I got a very special guest over here with me tonight. Oh, and I hear some echo going on. Rob, you got another page open.
I don't think so. Try it now.
Can you hear me? Okay, well, I think we're good. All right, so y'all see who we have over here? We got Mr. Rob Rizzo, the history digger. He's going to be filling in for Michael tonight. How about that? So we're super excited to have Rob here. Rob, thanks for joining in with us tonight, and we appreciate you being here, buddy. Anything you want to say before we get
I
Michael?
don't know. These are big shoes. This is like, Ed McMahon to Johnny Carson. Yeah. Who was Superman's sidekick? That reporter dude. I can't remember his name. I don't know. But
Jimmy
filling in.
Olsen.
There we go. Jimmy Olsen to Superman. And then, of course, you got Michael.
Yeah.
But Michael had another engagement tonight, right?
Yes, he did. He had
Yeah.
another engagement, and he couldn't be with us tonight. He's actually doing church things tonight, so he's doing something really good tonight, and we appreciate that
Right.
as well. And we are super excited though that you're able to fill in, and a lot of people are going to be very interested in hearing your takes and some of your things that you've got going on as well. So we're real excited to have
Awesome.
you here with
I,
us
I,
tonight.
I do want to let the cat out of the bag, though. I understand you didn't let Michael off the hook, right? He did
Oh yeah.
send in his tip of the week, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
we got Michael's tip of the week, which I know everybody looks forward to. And I was like, Michael, you don't understand. If you don't do your tip of the week, people are really going to be disappointed. But he
Exactly.
filmed his tip of the week, and we've got Michael's tip of the week coming. So you guys know that that's going to be something that you can look forward to. So real excited about that, and real excited to have my main buddy, Mr. History Digger, Mr. Rob Rizzo, in the house with us tonight, sharing his views and opinions and things that he's got going on in his area and his neck of the woods, as well as share some of his tips and tricks and things that he's got as well. So again, if you don't know this, Rob and I met roughly what, almost 3 years ago now, Rob, right?
We met at a dig stock event. Is that right? Yeah.
Right,
Gosh, time flies.
right.
And yeah, Brian and I talk a couple times a week, probably easily.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been on many of these live. This is, in my opinion, the best live stream out there.
Right.
you
We
know,
appreciate that.
there's no question because of the variety, the depth. But anyway, always a great opportunity. I had an opportunity, gosh, it was the spring, I think, Brian. I was driving through, I'm retired, folks, and the wife and I do some RVing and stuff. And Brian was gracious enough this spring to say, hey, why don't you come on by? And
Right.
maybe you guys saw one of his recent videos, but we metal detected one of his coveted permissions and
Right.
good time, good
Oh
time. But
yeah. Oh,
yeah,
we've done so many. That's the most clips I think I've ever videotaped too. I had 120 clips of video content that Rob and I did that day. And we hunted all day long until the sun went down. I mean, it was dark when we left.
oh my God. Well, I know people know that you love metal detecting. You have something like 16 metal detectors, but I don't know if they know how much of a gearhead you really are. Because
Oh yeah.
how many drones and cameras do you have, Brian?
Well, we've got 4 drones and we've got all kinds of, well, at least 10 cameras.
Oh
I
my
guess.
God. You could easily have like a whole nother channel, a whole live stream just on like that kind of stuff. But this is good and bad because Brian, of course, he uses these things to help out his channel. The
Right.
bad thing is he tells me about these things and convinces me to buy these damn drones and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out, but I'm trying to keep up with him on the techie side. But he is by far a gearhead.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah,
I love the
yeah.
gear. I love the video. I love videoing. I mean, I really do. I love the metal detecting side of it. I love the history side of it. I love it all. I mean, that's just what I do. And so it's
You love
always
the editing. You love the editing, and this is like a tell-all about you tonight. That was my goal. As I said,
it's a tell all,
I
right?
told Brian, I said, you sure you want me on the show tonight? Because I'm gonna tell everybody all your little secrets and
Mm.
stuff. But I know you have a laptop. I think you have an iPad.
Yeah,
But
I've got an
but
iPad,
I'm
laptop.
gonna I'm gonna tell people a little secret about you. he does the majority of his editing, and he does a great job, right? I'm sure many of you have seen his videos. He does the majority of his editing on his phone.
Yeah, I do a good bit.
Yeah,
On
and see, this is I have to wear these things most. I can't do that, Brian. But
I
anyway,
do a lot of editing on the phone, and that's the truth. I really do.
yeah.
Well, Rob, again, thank you so much for filling in for Michael tonight. And just, I know you got a lot of information. Doug Atkins already said we need a tip from Rob too. So they want 2 tips. So
You want a
Rob
tip?
does have some good ones. I know Rob's got some in his back pocket that he's going to pull out.
Well, listen, I'll share a couple, but I'll tell you one. My wife was with her sister in New York City a few years ago, and they were out at this diner eating, and the service, I'm going to tell you, it wasn't that great. And you need to know, my sister-in-law is from like farm country in Ohio, and and she, I was shocked to hear this, but she did not leave a tip. She did not leave a tip for the poor service.
Right.
And as they're exiting the restaurant, the waitress said, hey, where's my tip? And my sister-in-law, according to my wife, turned around and said, you want a tip? I'll give you a tip. Plant your corn early.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's tip number 1.
That sounds like a Southern thing.
Well, Ohio's Midwest, but no, I'll share one quick one. This is a very quick one, and I will say this is only for the users of the MI6 or the MI4 pinpointer. Okay, the XP pinpointer. And full disclosure, this was not my original idea. I think Gary Blackwell came up with this and shared this at one time. But I think, a lot of times metal detecting's a math game. Let's assume you're on good land, you got a good permission, the location's right. You want to try to, get over as many good targets and recover them as fast as you can. And as, as your condition permits, as your health permits and stuff like that.
Sure.
I told somebody one time, like, 4 plays for sex. It's not for metal detecting.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to think about your extraction like some people think about their golf swing.
Right.
You want to perfect this thing and maximize this. And so there's a variety of ways you can do that, checking it and so on. But one of the things is, how many times have we been out there trying to recover a target? And you're like, what the hell happened? The thing disappeared, right? And it turns out to be this tiny ferrous item, a small nail, and if you're like me, it's like, I'm going to find this thing. I'm just, but anyway, what Gary Blackwell did, he, this is the MI6 pinpointer.
Yes.
MI4 looks very similar.
Right.
I think there's one other pinpointer out there like this. I don't know if it's the Nocta or whatever, but it has a hollow end to it, right? And one of the cool things I learned from Gary Blackwell in his skill school, he actually glues a magnet into the end of that pinpointer.
Yeah.
So you're down there, you can quit. I can't find this thing, and if it
all those
isn't
nails
deep,
out, Rob, like we were digging in my place.
That iron patch, exactly.
Right.
And some of those things are really small,
right.
But anyway, this is just a quick way to not screw around, perfect that time, and get on to the next good target. And some people say, oh, does the magnet interfere with the pinpointer? Not at all. Not at all. So. This particular one, I just picked this up off of Amazon. It worked fine. Does have a little hole in it.
It's great tip.
Get a little bit of dirt in there. But this other one I have, just a little bit of super glue. Okay, and that's that right in there. But anyway, I got a few more, but we'll stop there, bro.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go into our shout outs, Rob, because we always do shout outs. We love to recognize all the people who have taken their time on a Friday night to be here with us. And we love recognizing our audience, because you guys are what makes this channel go. And so we always love recognizing you guys first and foremost. And by the way, too, stick around. We do have a giveaway tonight, and you guys are going to want to be here when we do that giveaway. So you definitely want to hang out. Come on and have some fun. We're going to talk a lot of things tonight. Rob and I both I have been using the HF2 coil. So we got some information that we'll share with you about the HF2 coil, what we're both seeing, and so on. So for you guys that have the XP Deus 2 and you're still interested in that HF2 coil, I know it's been a little while since it's been released, but there are some things sort of brewing and getting getting sort of worked out. So we've got a lot of great info to share on that front. So we're going to start with our shout outs real quick, Rob. We got Mr. Old Pelon in the house, always a super supporter of our channel. Mr. Diggin Darrell is here. Glad to have Diggin Darrell. Again, another great supporter of our channel. And he fills in for Michael on occasion, too. So we appreciate him being here. Mr. Joshua Williams. And we're glad to have Josh in the house with us tonight. Mr. Keegan, always here every Friday night. We appreciate Keegan being in here. Mr. Sniff It Out, always here too as well. We appreciate him. Mr. Tesh Ridge Digger, another great supporter of our channel. Mr. Matt from Metal Detecting Texas. Matt is a great beach hunter. Go check out Matt's videos on YouTube. But glad to have Matt here with us tonight. Mr. Chris Engel, we're glad to have Chris. Chris is a great supporter of our channel as well. Mr. Doug Atkins, which we mentioned earlier. He said, good evening from South Louisiana. Glad to have Doug, always a great supporter as well. Elsie Hunt, always here with us again as a great supporter of the channel. Glad to have him. Mr. Detect Meister, all the way from Ireland. He's here every Friday night. And we know what time it is in Ireland.
Heck, am I?
And Rob's got on his Dublin shirt just for you, Detect Meister. Mr. Ricky Bennett, he's got his Georgia Bulldogs logo on there. And you guys can see I got on my Atlanta Braves shirt, even though the Braves are sucking wind tonight. But anyway, glad to have Ricky here. And go Dogs, woo, 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 as we always say down here in the South. Mr. Richard Pelkey here. Hello from Vermont. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Glad to have Richard here, also a great supporter. Mr. Damian Thorne says, greetings, everyone. Glad to have Damian. Damian, what do you think about this HF2 coil? And Damian tunes in all the time, always wanting to know information. My main man, Mr. Surfside Dan's here with us. Glad to have Surfside Dan. Mr. Joe Dirt says, here we go again. Glad to have you here, Joe Dirt. Mr. Old Timer 50 says, it's been a warm day. And he says, it's a warm hello. Glad to have you here with us, Old Timer 50. Mr. Richard Smart says, hi, y'all. Glad to have Richard here. We appreciate you, Richard. Miss Aggie Hall from Detecting Adventures. Glad to have Aggie. You know, if there's going to be a giveaway, Aggie's going to be here. Love having Aggie on the channel. Great supporter of us. Gary Hulls is here all the way from Southern Oregon, Rob.
Wow.
It's going to be a great weekend. Glad to have you, Gary. We appreciate you. Dirt Devil Detecting. And Rob just gave you that tip, Dirt Devil Detecting. Dirt Devil Detecting, a great supporter and the winner of our big giveaway last week. And we've got another big giveaway coming next weekend. And since Dirt Devil Detective's on here and we gave away a nice prize to him, we've got another great prize that we're going to do for a giveaway next weekend, Rob. And it's going to be an XP backpack, 240 backpack.
Love that backpack. I have one.
Be given away.
Love it. I actually like it better than the 280. The 280 has a little bit more storage space, but I find this is better for traveling, actually.
Yeah, and I love this backpack too, but I've got it here, and we're going to be giving that away. And Rob, we're going to have a special guest next week. It's going to be Detecting with Jess, and she's going to be on here all the way from the UK on a Friday night. So she's going to be here sharing her tips and things that she's got going on over there in the UK.
She's awesome. She's awesome. She's an up-and-comer. Her channel's taken off. If you have not watched her, incredible cinematography. She does a really nice job.
She does a great job with the video aspect of it. So we're real excited to have her on here, Detecting with Jess, and we're going to have her on here next Friday night. And we're going to be doing that big XP 240 giveaway on that night as well. So we're super excited about that. Johnny Rum's in the house. I love Johnny Rum's name.
Oh, isn't it? Don't you love some of the cool names on? I mean, just the people that watch it. You know,
yes, I love.
Brian and I were talking. You know, when we were done. And is he on? I don't know if Ferris Grump's on. Did you say
he's normally on here?
He's normally. We'll see if he dials in. But I mean, how creative is that? You know. So anyway, I just love some of the handles. If any of you remember, if any of you are old Sea Beers, remember? Did you ever do that, Brian? CB
I
radio?
had CB radio, but I was probably, Rob, I want to say I was probably 8, 9, 10.
Okay, well, if you got on the CB radio, you had to have a handle.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe some of these folks remember what their handles were.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll share it.
CZ Digger's in the house. Great wealth of knowledge CZ Digger is. We appreciate him joining in. 5 Mile always here. We appreciate 5 Mile as well. And there he is, Mr. Ferris Grump.
There he is.
He says, hello, Beep Swingers. And Ferris Grump, your package should be there tomorrow, by the way. And we appreciate Ferris Grump. He's always a great supporter of us and all the time here, and we appreciate him. He's a North Carolinian, like my main man Michael, and we call them Yankees when they're up in North Carolina too. Rob, you didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I had a chance.
North, and it has to be Yankee, right?
And north of the Mason-Dixon, right? Right. And I think Brian, Michael and I were actually talking about this because if Yankees, we call it the Civil War, but am I correct? It's called the War of Northern Aggression.
War of Northern Aggression
down south, something like that.
Mr. Carson Chris is here. Glad to have Carson Chris. Maybe Carson Chris can shed some light on some of the things going on with the HF2 coil. As I know he's been doing some things with it. Mr. Edward G's on here, and we got a find from Edward G and Ferris Grump. And this is a special story, and this will show you how special our community is. So Edward G and Ferris Grump actually hooked up and went metal detecting together. That probably would have never happened if they hadn't come on this show and been a part of this community.
It's awesome.
And friendships are built through community, and that's ultimately what this hobby is all about too. And Rob and I met because of this hobby. If you think about it, we would have never met if it hadn't been for us being metal detectorists and being part of the same community. So Edward G and Ferris Grump got together and they went out on a little hunt. We're going to share their finds because, again, both great supporters of the channel, and we appreciate them. We got Miss Bells in the house. She says, good evening, everyone. Rob, I met Bells at Digstock.
Oh, no kidding.
And she is a regular on this channel, the first Digstock that you and I went to together. And that's when I met Bells, and she has been very loyal to our channel. And we appreciate Bells so, so much. And just a super, super nice lady. And her and her husband are just awesome people, and glad that they are part of this community. They're just awesome, awesome, awesome. And again, Edward G says, enjoyed detecting with you and the knowledge you shared, the 1920. Oh, so they found something else. So maybe they can share some more. Yeah, that's really, really, really cool. So trying to make sure I don't miss anybody. I know there's some people that might have joined in, and it looks like it's a lot of the same. I know I'm falling down behind because I've been running my mouth, right?
Well, that's all right. That's all right.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate the super sticker. Thank you so much. Relic Rat, Recovering Artifacts Together. Glad he's here with us tonight. And I think, Workman's Adventure. Glad to have Workman's Adventure, also up in North Carolina. Appreciate him being here with us tonight. So I think I've got, Buzzsaw. Glad to have Buzzsaw here, also a regular on the channel. Steve 10 is in here. He says, hello, everyone. I'm just sort of going back and checking, Rob, making sure I miss anybody.
We got a few people putting some CB comments out there. You used to have to, it was like a party line, a phone line that a lot of people shared. And when you entered the channel, right?
Right.
You had to say breaker, alerting people
What's
that
your
40? What's your 40? And I'll catch you on the flip flop. But it was a trucker thing. It was a trucker thing. But I think that was kind of cool.
That was Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah.
Right. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got Zapper in here tonight. He says, howdy, gang. And Norman Doster, all the way from Northwest Tennessee. Glad to have him with us.
Wow. You're getting them from all over here, Brian. You get them from all over the country.
We have a wonderful audience and just a wonderful group here tonight. So, Rob, we're just going to sort of jump right in, and then we'll go through a lot of things throughout the evening. But again, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Rob and I are so fortunate to be able to come on here and just have a good time with you guys, share some information, enjoy the conversation, fellowship with each other. And that's
and
what.
ask the questions, put the comment. What I love about Brian's live stream is he and Michael engage with you all, right? And you guys kind of might even steer the direction of the show here. So, contribute, because he and I are both scanning these things. And I think that's one of the things that sets you apart, Brian.
Yeah.
Is how you engage with everybody.
Well, we try to. We don't want our channel to just be about us. We want it to be about you guys as well. We love sharing the comments. We love making it an interactive program. And I think that's what makes us different from everybody else, is that we are totally interactive with our audience, as well as, giving our own information, our own insights into things. And that's what really makes it very, very, very special. So Carson Chris, and we're going to dive right into this, Rob. Carson Chris says, I'm testing an unreleased version of beta software. The HF2 coil is already a great product, but it's going to get even better. Okay. So I know what Carson Chris is testing, and I think Rob knows what Carson Chris is testing, but Carson Chris, of course, lives out west, Rob, if you don't know who he is. And he's been testing the gold nuggets and the gold, really small pieces of gold. Carson Chris, I know you can't really elaborate much on it, but from what you've seen, those small pieces of gold are probably coming in really, really good. I'm assuming in your area. And Carson Chris hunts out west, and he's got the opportunity to dig in mineralized dirt, and he has that special capability of being able to perform those types of tests, something that Rob and I can't really do. But, if you want to just real briefly speak, what are you seeing with the gold nugget test maybe that you're doing? If you don't mind elaborating, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But we're real interested in that part of it. So again, we're going to start with HF2 talk and what's going on there. We talked a little bit last week about the tariff increase. As of right now, I don't have any news yet about anything. I do know that 10% increase is probably coming across the board very, very soon. That's the one thing that I can speak to. But again, I don't know how much of an increase is going to come after that. And of course, my main thing, and I've said this last week, is I would not worry about the tariff thing until it actually happens, until we actually hear of a price increase. So again, we'll see what happens there. You're right. CZ Digger says tariffs. Right. Old Timer 50 says smart, not keep putting out updates one after the other. And there's a lot of people that I've heard that from as well. Hey, look, back to our CB break. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The radio checks are coming in loud and clear. Hey,
Right.
let me add something to what you're saying though, Brian.
Go ahead,
because
Rob.
while you're right, I think it's good that the public releases haven't been, coming out on top of one another. The beta releases have the testing releases, I should say, and two things I'll share. I want to just kind of convey is XP is not just improving, the public release. They have been improving things and adding things. So when you see that final release, right, there are going to be some additional additive things, on top of what you've already seen in the publicly available beta releases. That's a bit of a tease, but I just want to say they're not just continuing to improve what's out there. They're doing that while they're also, they've thrown a few incremental surprises to those of us testing it.
Right. And Dirt Devil Detective says, I'm enjoying the HF2 coil, surprised how deep it's pulling targets up front. And that's one of the things that I've been really impressed with the HF2 coil is the depth. And of course, I've got the Deus 1 with the HF coil on it. And I've also got the Deus 2 with the HF2 coil on it. And I've seen a big increase in depth too. And a lot of the targets that I've dug recently, and I've got one that I'm going to share that I just dug on a site that you guys have seen me hunt a gazillion times. Rob actually hunted that exact same site. And wait till you see what I pulled with the HF2 coil. And I'm going to show that in just a second. But what I'm telling you is you're going to be able to take this coil to some of those really beat up sites, especially those real beat up, trashy sites. And you are going to have the potential. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you have the potential to dig some things that you might have missed. And I'm going to share with you the find that the HF2 coil pulled on this beat up site that I missed. Okay. I'm not saying that I just didn't walk over it. I did walk over it. I walked over it with a bunch of different machines.
But he is saying I didn't walk over it.
Yeah. And
Clearly
Rob
I didn't
walked over it. What Rob walked over it. Michael walked over it. Surfside Dan walked over it. And Surfside Dan is on here. He knows where this came from. He was with me when I dug this artifact. Okay. So he can attest to it. He saw me dig it, and his eyes were as big as saucers because he could not believe that I dug this out of that one area that we all know that we had all walked over. And again, there's so many of us that have walked over it. I've walked over it probably the most of anybody. But whatever specialty thing that's going on with this HF2 coil, I really believe this was, and there's been two targets that I've dug recently that I really felt like the HF2 coil was doing something really special. So I'm going to share it real quick, Rob, and we're going to add that to the stage. And there it is, guys. It is a beautiful War of 1812 U.S. naval button. The HF2 coil pulled that out of thick iron. It wasn't a solid signal, but it was just enough, Rob, to make me stop and analyze that target and eventually dig that target. And that video is coming soon with this beautiful button. I have never dug one of these before. And a War of 1812 button in South Carolina is really hard to do. I'm just going to admit to that as well.
Brian, I have heard you say, and I agree, you know, it is a specialty coil.
Right.
And there's going to be times when you're going to want to use it versus other times, certain conditions. And I've learned some stuff myself from my own testing. But I'll tell you, folks, I've learned some stuff from Brian and other testers. And a couple of key things is I almost have to forget when I'm using that coil in this new software, you almost have to forget what you learned previously because these programs are different. And there were some programs like Brian, you were pretty hot on, I think, FAST program.
I've been, FAST was always my go-to, Rob, before the day is, well, even before the day is.
Okay. And there were a couple programs that on my land, the way I hunt and stuff like that, so I've had to kind of back up and challenge some of my own thinking. But also, don't forget, when you're using this thing, you got double the number of max frequencies, in addition to the other stuff you all know about, the negative silencer and the ground break. But, so there's been a little bit of kind of just, hey, let go of what you know, try some things. There are some differences with the target IDs as well, but it has been a little bit of a relearning experience. And that that continues.
Right. And Rob, this was a learning experience. And I'm going to be honest. I dug, like I said, a couple of days before I dug this button, I dug a Confederate cavalry button, which again is another very rare button on a site that I've been to a bunch. I mean, a bunch. I've been hunting that site for 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's been a lot of and there's been one YouTuber that a lot of you know that has hunted that site and declared that site dead. And I went to that site with that HF2 coil and I dug that cavalry button. There's also this button, which also like I just said, we'd all hunted that site Well, I've had 5, 6 different people that have hunted that site, and we all walked over that button at some point and didn't dig it.
And the interesting thing is, right? I mean, I'm expecting this thing to be better on small high conductive items, small chains, and maybe nuggets, and I'm also hoping it's going to be better on separation. That is not a small target.
No, it's not a small target. In fact, Rob, the hunt before I dug this button, I dug a dandy button, a $50 size. Also
Right.
off of that side.
And how deep was that, Brian?
That button was not that deep. This button was probably, and I said this early on. I know those of you that have paid attention to the channel. I said one of the strengths that I thought this coil would do would be unmasking shallower targets that we had walked over. Now, we're hearing a lot of people saying it's deep too, and I agree with them 100%. But I also think we're missing some shallow targets. This target was probably about 6 to 8 inches deep.
I remember you saying that for sure.
And that's one thing that I saw out of the HF2 coil. And I know people are saying, well, I don't have the HF2 coil yet. Guys, please be patient. I know that the tariff thing and some of the other things that are going on have sort of muddied the waters for a little bit, but they are coming. I know some of you say, well, it's like a unicorn, but it is coming. But I want you guys to sort of be prepared about what you could possibly see out of this coil. And these are the things that I'm seeing right out of the gate. And, to dig this War of 1812 button, Rob, I dug a portion of a slave tag, a slave badge. That's one of the earliest slave badges ever issued in the state of South Carolina by Charleston. I dug that off of that site with HF2.
Yeah.
And then dug a cavalry button. I dug a police officer's button off of that. I dug a Nova Constellatio, all off of the same site that Rob and I both hunted not even a few months ago.
Well, I'll tell you, Brian, I'm getting ready to go over to the UK for another trip here late September, August. I know some of you have done those trips. One of the big thing over there we're all trying to find are hammered coins.
Right.
And I was on the one of the groups the other night, and somebody posted a question. Hey, when you hunt, this is not a UK resident. It's obviously this is somebody from the States. And they said, hey, I'm getting ready to go over on my first trip. When you all go over and hunt England and you're hunting for hammered coins, and this was an XP user, what size coil do you prefer?
Right.
And it was interesting, the answers. There wasn't a consensus, but I would say a lot of the responses were around the 11-inch, the 11 by 13, because of coverage reasons. These are big fields. However, there's some people that live there that saying, hey, well, my permissions, I got a lot of pastures, I had a lot of stubble, so they were leaning more towards the 9-inch. And I'll tell you, for a couple reasons, when you're traveling, you have limited space, even, and I actually travel, by the way, with that 240 backpack. But I was not planning on taking this coil with me. But I'm reconsidering it because there are times when that elliptical shape, that small shape, coupled with this high frequency, I'm eager to try that on these. If you're not familiar with these hammered coins, Brian knows what that. I mean, these are thin and small. So this is another thing that I can't test that. I mean, I can test it in my test garden, but I can't test it over there. But I'm following and I'm listening closely to the few people that have it over in England to see how it's performing there. But I wanted to say that because Brian was quick to say, hey, I think this might help us with some of these, shallower targets. I'm also excited about using the elliptical shape, the small shape, and quite frankly, that low frequency max, because I think this can also be a silver sniffer. I've said that many times.
I remember you saying that to me. I mean, you don't necessarily, just because it's an HF2 coil doesn't necessarily mean that you have to run it at the higher frequencies.
Right.
I mean, you could run it at 20, the max, the frequency max at 29 kilohertz, which would lower it down, and it would be awesome, if you could run it down a little bit lower and get into some spaces that you might have not been able to get into. I'll tell you the other thing that I've noticed is on some of my sites, especially the one where I dug the Calvary butt, is the EMI mitigation that this coil does on those sites. So that EMI mitigation is just crazy how well it deals with EMI. When you run it up into 53 or you run it up into 89, I mean, you almost hear almost nothing.
It's quiet.
Right beside an air conditioner, or right beside these power lines. And those are some places where, believe it or not, there's some really historical sites, some things that you can find in those areas. And I think that's where we see a big benefit of this coil, is that EMI mitigation can definitely help you in so many ways when you do that. So again, I think the EMI mitigation is definitely a strength of this machine. And then again, getting into those tight spaces, getting into those trashy areas. And Carson Chris was just mentioned just a few minutes ago, those really smaller targets, like these small gold nuggets and small gold pieces. Carson Chris says that it is hammering those small gold pieces. So I think we got a lot to look forward to when this final version of this software comes out, and we get this thing sort of fine-tuned the way that we all expected it to be. And again, I know there's been a lot of beta releases, and there hasn't been one recently, as I think they've sort of scaled those back, and they're sort of getting testers like Carson Chris and like myself and like Rob and some others out there who are trying to help sort of fine-tune this thing to get this machine at the point to where it's going to perform the way that we all envisioned it performing. And I know XP is doing, and I know they're working very hard at doing that and getting it to where we want it. So when that final version of this software comes out, of version 3, it should be a very fine-tuned piece of software. And I'm hoping that that's going to be really soon. Rob, you want to add anything else to that?
Yeah, and this isn't going to come anytime soon, I think. But the other thing is not talked a lot about, right? But it's obviously a different design, and like the first HF coil, the battery's up in that shaft. Okay, and I don't think that's the direction. I don't know if that's the direction XP is going. I doubt it is. But let me tell you what. There's two other things I really like: is the runtime on this thing. Okay, the runtime is incredible.
Right.
It doesn't mean that much to me when I'm back here in Wisconsin and I'm going out for a morning or afternoon. But when I'm going to a rally, I'm on one of these UK hunts and I'm hunting all day. Depending upon the program I'm using, and most often I don't have a backlight. But I can push the coil battery to the limits. I don't think I've ever run out of a battery on my remote. But I do like how the runtime on this thing is much longer. And of course, I like the charging, I don't know what we call it, Brian, the slide.
Yeah, the charging mechanism is just unbelievable.
I'd much prefer that,
right,
okay, than what we currently have on the FMF coils. Now, I don't know. I'm not saying that's the direction XP is going, okay, but I do appreciate that as well. But yeah, I think we're kind of rounding the corner here in terms of.
I think we're getting very closer.
Right.
And you guys can see, if you see, I don't know if y'all can make that out, but there's two brass contacts at the top of this charging port, and you sort of slide the charging mechanism over the top of it. Now this battery, you guys can see it there, is removable, and it comes out of the coil. And you can get extra batteries too. So if you're one of those guys that likes to hunt extra long, then you can eventually replace this battery. Now I have not seen those batteries for sale yet, though, Rob. And by the way, since we're talking about that real quick, LMS metal detecting, guys, if you're looking for something, Mike can get you hooked up. Mike was with me too when I dug that War of 1812, but also Mike was another guy that walked over that same site And he was there when I dug it, and he was just in shock and
Just
disbelief.
rub it in, Brian. Keep rubbing it in. I'm telling you.
I mean, we all walked over. I walked over it. I probably walked over it the most. Is the bad thing about it. And but again,
Yeah.
Mike can get you hooked up with anything and everything.
Mike is great.
Yeah, hopefully you will have the opportunity to purchase these extra batteries for the HF2 coil. And here's mine right here, which you guys can see. And
Brian,
baby.
One other thing, because I don't want to presume everybody's even bothered with the update, because I know a lot of people were just saying, hey, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for Brian to figure it out, all these testers, and wait for XP to publish a final one. If it's been a while since you've gone through that update process, okay,
Right.
you know, just remember, if you have some saved programs, write them down. You're going to want to challenge, though, how applicable those same settings are going to be with this new software, mind you. But you know, one nice thing, and I wasn't expecting this, you don't have to repair your coils. So if you're using, you know, a variety of coils, I got all of them. When you do upgrade to that new software, those coils are still in there and they're paired. But you will.
I want to rephrase that. You said repair. Like
you do not. Yeah, you don't have to PAIR. You don't have to pair. You know, when you add a new coil, you have to add it, and either through the remote type in the serial number of that coil and so on. But your that is retained in the software. Okay, so you know, now if you have a new HF2 coil, of course you'll have to enter that for the first time. But that was a pleasant surprise. Okay. But just know that, and I know some people have some issues with that whole update process. And I'll tell you, 70% of the issues, when I talk to people, what they're having, remember, you have to update your the software on your remote or your WS6, okay? And you have to update the software on your headphones. And when you're doing the headphones, you have to use a single cable, and you have to make sure it's the cable that came with the device.
It has to be a data cable, Rob, and that's where I think a lot of people they will grab a cable and they think it's a data cable, and it's not. It's for charging more so than it is.
Correct. It might be from your camera. It fits, but you know, it might not have been that same cable that came with your device.
Right.
But anyway, you know, don't be afraid of the actual update. And I, by the way, how about you, Brian? But I do my update on a Mac laptop. Are you using Mac or Windows?
I have no Windows computers in my arsenal.
Okay.
I use all Macs though.
Okay, but just know, you know, it's all. I think the majority of people out there are probably still Windows, but it's, you know, it's working on both.
It's an easy process. The only thing with the update for the headphones is holding down the button long enough, you know, in order to get you got to hold it down for 12 seconds, let that light turn solid, and then you update the headphones. But if you're updating, and I'm not sure what's going to happen here, Rob, when they do release this final version, whether I know like on a lot of the beta releases that we've been doing, that our programs have saved, and we didn't have to repair our headphones, which I'm hoping that's what's going to happen with this final version update when it finally does come out, which hopefully that's going to be soon, we hope. And when it does, then that's going to mean that we're going to get these headphones and the programs and everything sort of, we won't have to worry about repairing and re-updating and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm hoping. What do you think? You think that's what's going to take place when we do this final version?
Well, I know we had to update the headphones the first time, right? And I would, you know, these other interim test releases were almost like smaller releases. I'm going to bet that folks coming from 1.1 or 2.0, I mean, they're going to have to do it. They'll probably have to do it.
People that have already updated
they're on 3.0
in the beta version, I'm hoping that they're not going to have to re-input all of their programs and repair their coils, and I'm hoping none of that happens.
Yeah, it's a good question.
For a fact.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we can get an answer to that. I don't know. You know, and part of the update process is it turns off your headphones. but I think you'll know right away. I always do my headphones last. I do the remote first and the headphones last. But
Right.
you know,
I
the
do
whole
too.
the whole thing, it takes me longer to find the cables than to actually do the update process. So
That's right. It does. It does. So you know, we're hoping that maybe this final version of version 3 is going to come out, and we're hoping that's going to happen soon. Of course, we're all still out there sort of testing and making sure that some of these things are good to go and perfect and in place. And everyone that gets this new update is going to be, it's going to be jam up, and you guys are going to love it. And so we're all out there just doing what we can to try to help and assist XP with getting that. And for those of you that have, and I know some of you on here don't have XP machines, and you're probably going, why are these guys always talking about? Well, it's because it's one of our main machines. It's definitely Rob's main machine. It's the one machine that I pick up more so than any machine when I go out into the field. And
it's the hot topic right now, and Brian knows I also use a Manicore, gosh, a year ago picked up the M9 coil. Right. But you have lulls in terms of, Nocta made an announcement not too long ago, some exciting stuff coming there, maybe for some of the folks more out west. Right. and so on. But yeah, this is it seems like the HF2 is the hot topic du jour.
It is. And the HF2 coil is only getting better. And Carson Chris mentioned this earlier. Rob and I are mentioning it right now. We've seen some very good improvements. You guys just saw some of the finds that I've found with some of the testing version of that beta software that I've been using, and it's getting better. That's what I can tell you. And I can tell you that those finds didn't happen until really 2 weeks ago. And some of those finds have just been just awesome. I mean, I can't say any more. And I know finds aren't everything, but finds do mean a lot when you're on a site that you've pounded and hunted to death, and you go back in and you dig it with a new coil or a new machine. That's when you really say, hey, look, this thing is doing something that maybe possibly some of the other machines did not do. Now, could I have walked over that and just missed it? Sure. But I know where I've walked, and I know what I've swung over those over that site. So that's what makes me think that I really believe the HF2 coil is really doing something special over the last 2 or 3 weeks and testing some of these different beta version softwares.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, if the HF2, though, if people are, they want to wait, it's not in their budget right now. I wanted to just share 2 small things XP did, kind of as continuous improvements that some of you might be interested in. These are nowhere near the cost of an HF2 coil, but a lot of people will sometimes point out if you're not installing the remote properly on the control mount, a lot of people have a tendency to pull this off. They're really rough with this. This thing goes on and off, on this angle. Okay. Right. But it can affect the design of what's called the control mount. And a lot of people complain, understandably so, that, hey, my remote fell off. XP changed the design. This is like what ships with their new detectors.
It's a much better design too.
It's solid. I mean, I actually had a hard time getting it off. And these are available from Michael and other dealers at a very nominal, we're talking, just a few bucks.
Yeah, Mike can get you hooked up with those. And again, his information is scrolling across the bottom right now. We always make sure that we feature it. And Rob's getting ready to show you the charging cable. It's not necessarily new, but some of you, it may be new. Maybe you didn't know that you had this option. Show them that, Rob, real quick.
Okay, and if you're not familiar with this comes with a 3-pronged charging dongle. So you have one area here, one end that, of course, you're going to plug into your power source. The other, one is intended to charge your actual coil, okay, the coil. Right. The other charges both your pinpointer, if you use an MI6 or MI4 pinpointer, and your headphones. This design right here goes into the back of the remote, the control unit, this back part right here. And you can probably see the design. It's not dissimilar to what other detectors have used in the past, other manufacturers. But you
Right.
have to properly get this on seated, and it takes a little bit of time.
That pin design.
And I know a few people have had some issues possibly with damaging that. So what XP has done, this is just incredible now. This new design comes with a hood. And there's only one way to put it on, and it literally just slides right on.
Right. And that's the one that I use. That's the one I know Rob prefers. It's just very simple, easy to slide on to your remote. And I love that.
Small continuous improvements, but same thing, available from Michael, available from other dealers, and just a few dollars. Did the other things work? Yeah, but these are just better designs, and
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
They are. So real quick, Rob, I want to share, and I know I mentioned this earlier, I want to share, this was the find made by Edward G. and Ferris Grump on their beach hunting expedition together. And again, like I said at the beginning of the show, those guys would have never met if they hadn't been part of our community. And they were able to hook up and go for a metal detecting hunt together. And there it is right there. And it's a beautiful gold ring. And it's got some diamonds around the outside of it as well. And yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful ring. And they were so super excited to share that with me and let me know that happened because of our channel, Rob. So that makes that just makes us feel really, really special. And congratulations to Edward G on this beautiful find that he got with Ferris Grump out on the beach in North Carolina. So again, just a beautiful find. And I wanted to share that real quick as we move forward in the show. But again, congratulations, guys. And that is a super nice ring find.
Beautiful find.
Yes, it definitely is. And we wanted to share that as those guys are both major contributors to our channel, as well as Dirt Devil Detecting. He says he sent me some finds, and I'll have to get those, and I'll get those up next week. I promise. Dirt Devil Detecting. And we'll share some of those. He shared a buckle find with me and a couple of buttons too. So I definitely want to share those too. Dirt Devil Detecting, also a great supporter of the channel. So we'll get that up next week during our giveaway, our big giveaway night next Friday night with Detecting with Jesse, which is going to be happening next Friday night. So you definitely want to do that. Edward G says, it was my first week ever hunting on the beach. Right.
Yeah. So, what was it wet or in was it in the dry or in the wet, guys? I'm curious.
I don't know. They can share that with us. But yeah, Edward G and Ferris Grump got together. That was a beautiful find by both of those guys. So Rob shared his detecting tip of the week. He said wet.
Wet.
Yeah. Wet sand. Edward G says wet sand. That's awesome, guys. That's a beautiful ring, by the way. I think any of us would be jealous if we found something like that. Rob, would you be jealous if you found that?
I'd be a wee bit jelly, Brian.
Yeah. You think your wife might want that one?
I'd be happy. No, she'd be glad I found it. But yeah, that's an awesome find. Yeah. I bet you that was a clunker. It was heavy. It looks like it was heavy.
Oh, it's a beautiful ring, definitely. So Rob shared his tip of the week, but we can't leave our buddy Michael out. Michael is a regular on here, and we know that if we didn't share this tip of the week, people would revolt, Rob. Revolt if they didn't get that tip of the week from Michael. So let's bring Michael on. He filmed it for us just so we would have our tip of the week. Even though he's not here, he says, I got to make sure I take care of the audience. And here's Michael's tip of the week.
Hi guys, I just wanted to hop on here and give you my tip of the week. I know last week I talked about doing some research for some historic sites. Well, now's the time to do that research, while it's hot and you're inside. You can do the research, map some spots on your GPS. And this fall and winter, when you have cooler weather and the vegetation, is knocked down, it's not as bad. And the ticks and the mosquitoes, you can get out and hunt these sites that you have marked on your GPS. So right now, do the research, mark them on your GPS, and in the fall and the winter, you'll be glad you did. It's something to look forward to, especially in this weather. We're going to be in the triple digits here this weekend. I know 99, 100, so everybody stay hydrated if you do get out. And sorry I missed the show tonight, guys, but I'll be back next week. And I just want to say hey to Rob, the history digger. He's a great guy. And I'll see y'all next week. Thanks.
And there he was. Rob, he gave you a special shout out too.
Hey, I'm going to say, don't be fooled. I think Michael, he's almost like a drug dealer. He gives you these tips. He gets you hooked on the crack of his insight. Okay. I don't know how I feel, but no, he's a great guy. I had an opportunity to hunt with Michael too this spring up in North Carolina, and
Right.
he's as good as they come, folks.
Yeah, he is. He's a solid individual. There's no question about that. And for those of you, if you weren't able to hear it, I know it might have been a little bit, but I know I was shaking my cup and all kinds of stuff during it. But he was saying, look, now's the time to go out and do all your research. So if you're thinking about an area or you got an idea about an area, go do your research now. And then when the fall and the winter comes and you can get out into those sites, then you can go, do that research early. And then that way it'll pay huge dividends when the fall and the winter comes. And I know a lot of us here in the South, it's not as that big of a deal. But Rob, it's a big deal up there where you are, right?
Well, I think so. You're talking research?
Yeah, no. Well, I'm talking about fall and winter.
Oh,
if you
man.
can do your research,
Listen,
and then you get to the winter, what happens during the winter for you guys?
Okay, I'm pretty sure everybody. So I live in Wisconsin, and if you don't know it, our state bird is the mosquito.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are a couple periods of time when when you go out there and hunt. I mean, you better take a bath in like off repellent and stuff like that. But you got these windows of time, and I'm going to tell you, come mid-December, our ground is often solidly frozen. You can't, or we're out of commission. I mean, it's so bad that there were a couple times in January you get the fever. I need more cowbell, and I had to detect. I actually went out and detected a snow hill. I wasn't digging in the ground, but I was detecting the snow that was like a foot deep from people sledding down. That's how sad it is here. That's when I said to the wife, I said, we got to get in the RV and go visit Brian, because it's But no, I say the research is key. I think especially in these down times, either because there's crops on the field, it's too hot, or in my case, it's too cold. I actually also I do a lot of research during my winter months, and I have a couple techniques I use to do mantlings and door knocking as well. But the winter's a good time for that too.
Right. So, Rob, I know it's rough up there during the winter, and Doug Atkins says, Rob, you don't know anything about mosquitoes, and I think Surfside Dan would agree with you, as he's seen the mosquitoes in some of the places we during the summer. These mosquitoes are brutal. I'm talking about there can be so many around you that you can't even hear your metal detector through your headphones because there's so many mosquitoes.
Okay, we'll have to agree to disagree on that. Maybe what we'll just have to do is we'll all have to kind of invite one another to our, and we'll kind of come up with a mosquito bite test.
Look, not only are you dealing with the mosquitoes, but you're dealing with about 115 degree feels like temperatures.
No,
with it.
Well, you're right. You win that competition, but I will say too, we have issues with ticks. You got to be real careful with ticks.
Yeah, ticks are bad
seriously, and I don't think you have these other. What do you call them, Brian? They're not no-see-ums, but chiggers. Yeah, chiggers down there.
We call them no-see-ums too. They'll bite the crap out of you. We mainly see those early in the spring and late in the fall. That's when we start to see those, and they're terrible, and they'll get all over you, especially in the real sandy areas here in South Carolina. So Yeah. Tesh Digger says mosquitoes is Louisiana state bird.
I tell you, see that?
Well,
Yeah. 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 No, just a little funny side story. So when I detected with Michael, I was getting ready to leave Brian's place, and I said, "Yeah, I got this permission. I want to invite Michael to go to," and it was in North Carolina. And I said, let me pull up this house. It was actually an old home site, and I remembered the address because it was a unique address. And Brian's hovering over my phone, and I type in the address, and I'm trying to hit, an image of the house, maybe a recent real estate thing. And remember this, Brian? I type in the address, and what pops up? This headline. It says triple homicide
right.
at 123 this location.
Triple murder on this
Triple
site.
murder. And Brian looked at me, and I'm like, I thought surely this can't be the same site. Well, long story short, it was. This was the location, sadly, of a triple homicide like in the 70s. And they actually produced a made-for-TV movie about this. And I looked at Brian, and I said, I told him, I said, I don't know. And we both looked at one another, and we said, what the hell? And then the only question was whether I should or shouldn't tell Michael about it.
Yeah, that was.
Which I told him. I did tell him about it, and it ended up being a great hunt. The people there, the house is sold like 3-4 times over. It all had good vibes and everything. It was all fun.
Right, I know, and we had a blast. I mean, it was fun, and I was glad that you came down when you did, because I'm telling you, I don't think right now you would be very happy on some of these same spots that you went to. And it's brutal. And like I said, poor old Surfside Dan, he and I were basically like struggling this past Sunday because it was 93, and I think the heat index was like 104 or 105. And by the way, Surfside Dan is a little bit up in age, and he basically said, "Look, Brian, you better enjoy it while you can." He said, because it's not going to be easy.
It's not going to get easy. Hey, Ferris Grump, I've been up to the Quetico Provincial Park canoeing, and I had my first exposure to those black flies.
Yeah, those black flies are bad. We got them down here too, but nothing like what I think they have up north.
Oh, these things bite through wool socks. They'll bite you through wool socks. I mean, they're big too. No, they're nasty. They're just nasty.
Surfside Dan says I'm a lot up in age. Hey, look, I'll tell you what. He might be a lot up in age, but that rascal can go, and I'll give him that. He's just an awesome dude. I love hunting with him, and such a great wealth of knowledge. And it was just so much fun with him being with me this past Sunday, him and Mike Kyle from LMS Metal Detecting, and them seeing me dig that button. And we just had a ball, and we just chilled. I mean, even though it was just blue blazing hot, we took our time, and we just enjoyed being with each other. And that's what metal detecting's about in a lot of cases as well. So, there's Carson Chris. He says he's got a lot of – thank you, Carson Chris, for being here tonight. So, Rob, we've been on here for about an hour and 4 minutes, and I know Rob's got other things that he wants to do as well. Rob, you want to share anything else that you want to share before we start into our giveaways and some other things that we're going to talk about?
Well, we had one more thing. I'll bring it up quickly. I don't know if you have that photo of I'm just going to build a little bit on what Michael had shared. Brian and I were talking about permissions, and we know there's all kind of different sites we hunt.
Right.
Old sites, there's no structures anymore. We're looking, and we're going to mark those with a GPS. Maybe there was a rumored battle, but for those of you who have live in some proximity to a city, small town, older towns, one of the things I want to share, I'll describe it briefly, and I'm going to ask Brian to show you this image, but I have a little technique I developed. I use realtor.com, free website. You can go out there and, of course, search for houses for sale. Right. But you can also search for homes that have recently sold. And you can apply filters like over 100 years of age. And up pops, a list of homes that you can then look at to see, well, is it an acre or two or more? Does the ground look like it was developed? And what I do is either door knock or I have a mailing. I've got, a long version. I have a short version of this mailing. and I just address it the property owner.
Right.
You'll see my little shtick here. I just say, hey, found your house. I got a YouTube channel, love history, and would like to metal detect your property. I'll share any finds. Most people share their finds with me, but anything valuable, of course, I'm going to insist you keep that. But anyway, because I do it in a postcard format.
Right.
Okay.
You got it upside down. There you go, Rob.
There we go. Postcard format. The stamp only costs me 48 cents.
Right.
And I'm getting about a 5 to 10% response rate on these things. I get a little higher when I do it in letter format. But you can, if you have the picture available, pop it up. If not, don't worry about it. But if anybody's interested in that, you want to give it a try, email me or, but I tell you what, I've gotten some really cool finds on these older properties. And, I think one of the key things, we always talk about settings and detectors and stuff, but I think one of the key things is get a good location. Okay.
That's
If
right.
you want to find old stuff, go to old places.
Right. Yeah. And go to places where that people congregated at too. I mean, that's a big part of it as well. And look for the dates of some of these places, like Rob said. You want to find something that's early. You want to find something that's in the 1700s, 1800s. You got to go to the spots that are 17 to 1800 sites, whether it be a home, whether it be a piece of property. Do your research, like Michael said early on in the video, and go and look up the property owners, find out who those people are, or simply go to the property. If there's a home there, go knock on the door, and all you can say to them. And I know a lot of us are afraid of rejection or hearing the word no, but what I can tell you is you're never going to know unless you ask. I mean, you got to take that chance. And, if you're not willing to take that chance, then.
Yeah. Babe Ruth said you miss 100% of the pitches you never swing at, right? So that property I invited Michael to, I knew I was traveling down to Florida and I was going to be visiting Brian. And so I mailed out strategically some things in advance to those cities, during my trip. That actually is how I found that particular property that Michael and I went on. And it was an early 1800s property.
Right.
But
you got to put yourself on those types of sites. And I'm not saying that, and Rob will admit to this too. I'm not saying that every old site is going to be a home run. It's not.
No.
I've been to sites that have dated to the 1700s, and I've been highly disappointed.
And I just want to address Barbara's comment. I mean, I understand, but a town that was incorporated in the 1850s probably had some properties, earlier than that.
Yeah.
And, it depends on your situation. I understand, but, I'm willing to drive for like an hour radius,
Right.
easily, if not more.
Well, hey, look, Rob, there's nothing wrong with 1850 stuff.
Oh, hey, listen, and I
love digging 1850 stuff.
I just learned, I kind of, my approach, I was a little bit stingy. And if it was over 1900, as terms of a build date, I would discount it. And one of my buddies, Dave Oliver, posted something about 2-3 months ago. He had a permission he went to, gets to the homeowner's property. Turns out they forgot about a commitment. He said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." The neighbor invited him next door, and that house was built in 1935, I think. He had one of his best days so far this year on this 1935 property.
Right. Because, Rob, you're exactly right. Sometimes there are houses that are built after that were built on top of earlier home sites. And that's the same way with fields, same way here, like in South Carolina, you can go to a field and you might think that field, dates to the late 1800s, or there's an early 1900s site or a Depression era site on it. And then you find out there was things there that were way older than that.
Yeah.
So you just never know.
You never know. It's not guaranteed.
No,
but again, and it's not I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, but it's an incremental approach.
Right. And Gary Halls is exactly right. He says the more you ask, the more often you do it, the better you get at it. And yeah, are you going to get some no's? Probably. I've been to places where I've gotten no's, but then I've gone back to that same spot and asked the same owner, and all of a sudden it was a yes. And a lot of that is just because I think if you can sort of prove to the landowner and prove to the person, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to, and then you make some sort of agreement with them.
Let me tell you one other interesting thing, Brian. Don't ask me how I found this guy, but I follow this guy on Instagram who I think he's from Austin, and he goes around, he just approaches like really interesting looking people. He's a photographer.
Right.
And he walks up to them and says, "Hi, I'm a photographer. Would you mind if could I take your picture?" And you can see these people are like, "Who the hell are you? What do you, and they're really hesitant. And what he does is, "Can I show you what I do?"
Right.
And he has this little portfolio, and it immediately kind of brings things that calms them down. And I put together a book every year. Some of you have seen this. It's just a picture book of my phone.
I like that book. I looked at that book at Dig Stop.
Yeah, and I have a couple. It's kind of a neat way to display your finds if you don't have space and stuff. But it also, in those cases where I'm approaching somebody via a door knock, whatever, it gets me past that first. Who are you? What, can I show you what I do? And I'm, then they see, oh my gosh, this guy's serious. He loves history, and I'm showing them some of the things that I've found. So right. I don't know, just give you guys something else to consider. And all this is building, of course, on what Michael said. I mean, if you want to have good recoveries and good finds, consider how much time you spent hunting versus research.
Right.
And teeing up those good stuff.
And Michael was exactly right. Research now while you have the opportunity to do a lot of that research. And again, but my main question is though, when you go in there with a book like that, Rob, that makes people, and you show them some of the things that you found, some people might look at it and say, well, he's coming in here to raid my property.
So I remember one permission I was on, I was eating lunch, the homeowner came out and he said, he was talking with me. He said, my girlfriend said I shouldn't have invited you here. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, why is that? Do you mind telling me what was her concern? She said, well, how do you know you can trust this guy?
Right.
How do you know he's not going to pocket a fine? And again, on my little shtick is designed, I'm retired. I don't sell anything. I'm going to show you get to keep I have a YouTube channel, there's a certain point in time where they have to make a decision. Do I trust this person or not?
Well, okay. And I think a lot of people realize right off the bat with me, especially, is that, that you can come along and watch me. I even invite them sometimes.
Great point.
Yeah. Come on and watch me. And if you want to keep something, then I'll let you keep it. It's your property. Granted, I am doing a lot of the work, but it is your property. And if you want to keep, that's just going to, and let me tell you something. Yeah. It's one thing that a lot of people fail to realize. When you do stuff like that, that opens the door up to other properties that person might say, hey, I don't mind you hunting it, and maybe I'll let you keep this stuff. Mm-hmm. Or they may say, hey, I want to keep this stuff too. But a lot of us, like I've always said on here, Rob, and I know you've heard me say this before, I'm into the finding. I get more satisfaction out of knowing I saved a piece of history than knowing that I get to keep a piece of history.
And Brian, it might be easier for you, but what I would encourage people is just by writing it even down, like writing your little script down. Right. You got to get it out in like 30, 40 seconds.
Right.
And what's the worst that can happen?
Right.
They say no. Okay, thank you very much. And you go on to, or you do it with a friend. But you get better, it gets easier and stuff like that. But
the more and Gary's right, the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
The more people are going to be more receptive to it. And a lot of times I'll go to like some of the land, I'll say, look at all the trash I dug. I'll even show them the trash. This was all in your yard. I just cleaned up your yard for you.
One other thing too. So like even that ring. And I know many of us have had some really cool finds.
Right.
Some of the people have said, hey, how did you, I was on Wisconsin Public Radio for an hour.
Sure.
I've had a couple newspaper write articles about me. I'm like, oh my God, how did they find you? Guess what? I sent a press release, a 1-page note to the editor of my local paper, said, I found this really cool thing. Thought you might be interested in writing an article about it.
Right.
There's nothing stopping you from writing a 1-page thing, throw some pictures. and send some stuff out. Why? It's not about this. I could care.
Right.
But it gives you a level of credibility. Oh, this guy was on. I've actually had people after my mailing say, "Oh no, we checked you out. We figured out you're the real deal."
Right.
So these other things give you credibility. Live streams, YouTube channels, newspaper articles. You speak at a local community center, senior center, stuff like that, right? Hey, all I'm trying to say is sometimes you want to add something into your portfolio of techniques to get not just better research, but to get permissions.
Right. There's no question about that. And I think you and I, and again, we're all good stewards of the hobby. And I think once people realize that, they're going to be more receptive to you. And I know it's hard just to go up to some random house and knock on a door. That can be tough and that can be intimidating to some people. My suggestion is to go out and participate in some things too. Go, be a member of your local church, be a member of your school board, be a member of your community in some form or fashion. And you'll find out by doing those types of things that sometimes that opens up doors to you too that you would have never gotten otherwise. It doesn't necessarily have to be a doorknob, and I think that's how I've done it, more so than a door knock or a letter or a picture book. I've just become an integrated part of my community, and people have come to, they know who I am. And I think that can play a big role into getting to know your neighbors, getting to know the people that live in your area. And that can open up tons of doors too. But there are so many different ways that you can go about getting permissions. And there's so many different ways that you can go out and find places to meditate. I get that. That's probably the number one question that I get on my Facebook channels, on my Instagram channels, YouTube channels. How do you get all these permissions and places to hunt? And I just say, look, be nice, be a good person, go out there and talk to people, be a part of your community, learn the history of your community, read books, look at old maps, get familiar with your area, wherever it may be, find out where people congregated at, find out where there could possibly be some historical artifacts at, do those types of things. And those things are going to open up a whole bunch of doors to you. And you'll come up with all kinds of ideas when you start approaching it in that way. And again, keep the funds, don't keep the funds. You're the one who has to ultimately make that decision. Why are you doing this?
And it's okay to be a little different. I have some folks that have said, well, I'm putting in all this time and effort. I expect to keep it all. That's up to you. Okay. Right. I got to the point. I mean, what am I going to do? I don't sell anything.
Right.
I do like the pictures, and I do like to keep a few things because I do speak at events. It's nice, right. but that's me. You may be different, but anyway, yeah, just a good copy because it is the hobby is growing,
right?
And there's no more new old land.
Right, exactly. There are a lot of people. There are a lot of people that do this for different reasons. Now, there's what I call the dark side of it. That somebody goes and they trespass and they find fines and then they take those fines and sell them. I don't want any of you to be that way. There are some YouTubers out there right now that do this. That go out, find things, take them and sell them, put them up in their house and you'll never see them again after they've clearly trespassed on somebody's land. And of course, you guys know I'm not that person, but what I'm saying is there's a dark side to this too. And that sheds a bad light on the entire community when people are doing those types of things, rather than going through the proper procedures and going through the proper channels in order to get those permissions. And again, I know that most of the people that are on here right now are people that go through that process and they understand. And I'm going to say this too, is I had someone ask me this past week, Well, how do I know if I can metal detect in my area? Well, the main thing to do is if you get permission for a private property, then that's fine. If you're going to hunt a park, like in a city or a downtown area, you really do need to ask the local authorities, the police, or whoever are in that area, if you can go and hunt those areas. You know, sidewalks, some people think that curb strips are perfectly okay, but if it's a curb strip in front of somebody's house, they're not going to be okay with you hunting on that property. I would always go and ask permission before I actually did that. So keep those things in mind. If you're going to hunt a church or you're going to hunt a tot lot, you know, I would still ask permission to the appropriate people that are in those areas and the people that are over those areas before you go and dig. I know some states have different requirements as far as state parks, beaches, and so on. You need to check all of the local
county
authorities.
parks are different.
Right. Yeah. You need to check with the local authorities before you go into any of those places.
But I would add, Brian, if you do call, I do the same thing. I call the local authorities and I do ask the question optimistically. Hi, my name is Rob Rizzo. I'm a metal detector. I'm in such and such. Are you aware of anything that prohibits me from?
Right. I like Aggie's comment. Don't dress like a hobo.
Well, don't. But if you
don't go there dressed like you're getting ready to go metal detecting sometime.
Right. It's the trust.
Go there, with a collared shirt on. Say, hey, and tell them a little bit about why you want to hunt that property. What makes their property special, and then let them share information, because sometimes they will openly just give you the information of things that you could possibly find on that property.
Yeah. Are you aware of the history of the property? And if you don't want to do something like what I did, there's such a thing called a hobby card. So it's like a business card that, hey, Rob Rizzo, detectorist. Why? Because you can find, here's who I am. I'm not just some stranger. But if you get that permission, back to what you were saying, Brian, from that local law enforcement officer, grab that person's name. Okay, thank you. And who am I speaking to? Oh, Officer Jenkins, whatever. Because sometimes you are approached later and you want to have the ability to say, well, no, I have called, I'm here, and so-and-so gave me permission. So just don't forget to grab whoever you spoke to's name.
Right. And it's one permission can lead to multiple permissions, and how you treat that permission can also help you with finding other places to detect. And always keep those things in mind. Treat the property with respect, cover your holes, make sure you do all the proper things, because you just never know who's going to ride by and see you metal detecting. And they might say, hey, I've got a house or I've got a property that you could hunt. And, when they see you doing the right things, or the landowner might say, hey, I know somebody that owns a property or has a house or has access to a property. So you need to make sure that you're doing all those right things when you're out there detecting, and be nice and be courteous and be friendly, and then just tell them why you do what you do, why you love what you do. I think all of those things are things that can definitely contribute to your metal detecting success. Why have I been successful in what I'm doing? It's because of the things that I just told you. Because that's the way I respond to any landowner and any property that I get the chance to metal detect with. Steve Salmon says, absolutely, get permission and lead the right. Exactly.
It's a metal detecting code of ethics, right?
Right. Exactly. And I get attacked on Facebook because people think, oh, you dug a nasty hole, or you didn't do this, or you didn't do that. Of course, they don't know the whole story, because all they see is a little small video clip. But again, I promise you, I do everything the right way in order to make sure that I get the next permission, or something leads or comes to my way because of what I've done on that permission. And whether it be a yard, which I rarely dig yards. Most of the places that you guys see me digging are very remote, out in the field. It might have grass on it. That doesn't mean it's a yard. It might just be a area that they mowed in an area, and that's pretty much it. But I have a good time. Rob's seen some of the places that I hunt. He knows that some of those places are covered with grass, but also too, when I dig there, I make sure I cover those holes up. I make sure I do all the right things to make sure I get the opportunity to come back, because all it takes is one bad thing happening, and then that's it. They cut you off. You don't want that to happen to you. Anything else we can add to that? I know we spent a lot of time on that. I know we sort of said.
No, I just want to, because I know there's a group of folks that this is very uncomfortable for many of them. And I just think about what we've said. And, you know, at the end of the day, too, if you have a buddy who's a little more comfortable at door knocking, asking for the permit, you know what, follow them along. Just go with them and just listen a little bit, right? But we're just trying to increase everybody's level of success here. And I do think it starts with a good property. One of the best things you can, you know, I think that's the number one. I think the other best tool you have is this gray thing between your ears.
Right. Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're making a decision on dig, not to dig, which program, and all that kind of stuff. Right. But it does start, if you want to really maximize your efforts, put yourself on good property.
Yeah, put yourself on good property. Do like what Michael said. Research. Right now, maybe you can't metal detect because it's too hot, or maybe you can't metal detect when it's too cold, like Rob's saying over here. Then, you know, do your research then and try to get in line the properties that you can detect or that you want to detect, and then go out and try to pursue those landowners in order to get those permissions. And there's a wealth of information. Your library, your local library, is a wealth of information for your counties, cities, and so on. Those places can just lead to huge amounts.
Right. Brian, I'm just laughing because Hi-Ho Silver, I just had a yard sale. You know, I was the one doing it. And I was, you know, at my table, and I had my books, my hobby cards, some of these. I had all that stuff there, and I was hitting the people up buying stuff from me.
Right.
I actually got a couple permissions at my yard sale, you know, but I think you're talking about you go to yard sales too, and you bring up the.
Oh yeah, you bring up that kind of stuff. Ferris Grump says, "What are your favorite online research methods?" Well, again, I use LiDAR. I'll admit that. I use online maps. I've used the library. I do a good bit of reading, and a lot of the clues that I get to places, it basically comes from reading different books. Actually, even Rob, I even read some books that are not even in print anymore that you can't find anywhere else. I will even order them online and have them. I'll buy them off of eBay, or I'll buy them somewhere else. And I go and I read the stories. I read the actual accounts of slaves. I've read the actual accounts of Civil War soldiers. I've read the actual accounts of Revolutionary War soldiers. I've looked at maps from a lot of resources and books that you're not going to find online. Books to me are still the most important part.
I don't disagree, Brian. Brian, here's a simple one though. I'll actually do a combination of, I'll go to my library. Hey, where are the old plot maps? Okay. And I want to try to find the oldest ones possible. But then, right, I use the county GIS systems, and almost every county has these geographical information systems.
They do.
You know, you can get some of the same information from Onyx, I think, but what you find often, and I find this sometimes when I do my mailings, is the people that reside at the home do not own the property.
Yeah.
You know? So for properties, you know, I will use that to get the owner's name, and sometimes it's an estate or somebody that lives in another town. But it's a great topic because there's, you know, I've even used recently ChatGPT to just challenge my thinking about what am I forgetting about? Like, you know, and like one of the things popped out of that conversation was, you know, waysides, there used to be a lot more travel stops, remember, we didn't have all these interstates. We didn't even have state highways. One of the first major routes across the United States was this thing called the Lincoln Byway.
Yeah.
And they were there, there were these locations that are, some of them are developed now, but I was up in Indiana a couple of years ago. One of them is at a park, and I actually went there on the Lincoln Byway, found some old rings.
Right.
Okay. But you just want to, challenge your thinking. But it doesn't have to all be online. Some of these paper things are really good.
Right. So
these
to
books.
me, I like the paper stuff and just being able to look at it. There's a lot of great online tools, which is what Ferris Grump was referring to a few minutes ago. But
and Brian, I know we're going to talk about the giveaway in a minute, but we actually have a book we're giving away tonight.
Right. Yeah. Show them the book, Rob, real quick. Look at there. Interpreting history from relics found in the Civil War on Civil War campsites. So we're going to give away that book tonight as part of the giveaway, which I think is a great giveaway. And I think a lot of you will appreciate that as well. So again, we're talking about, sites and getting permissions. And a lot of our viewers here just had some great tips as well. Hi Ho Silver says, I say target retrieval as well. Doug is right. Small local libraries usually have a lot of good local information. That's what I love. I love going into my library and sitting there in that room and just going through. You can contact your state's archives, and you can get some great information about your area as well. Barbara says, I never say dig either. It's
one of my biggest regrets. I love my channel name and everything, but the dig word when you're talking to permission owners, absolutely. What a great point, folks.
Right, yeah, and those are all great tips. I love Damien's comment. That's why I was laughing a few minutes ago, Rob, when you were commenting. He says, Stowe, what you're saying is pretend to be from the gas company. Yeah, get you one of those neon green vests or orange vests. And you wear those and you act like you're from the gas company. You just walk up and down the street.
I have one of those. I would consider changing my channel's name to the History Retriever. I'm just afraid people.
I'm not saying do that.
But no, I think people might think I'm a dog if I do that. The History Retriever. I don't know, a Labrador or something like that. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. But no, sometimes when I'm detecting curb strips for a combination of safety reasons, but I honestly don't want people asking me the litany of questions. Hey, what do find anything good? Ever find anything cool? I pop on my green vest and they leave me alone.
Yeah, that's true. So, but again, I'm not condoning what Damien is actually saying on here, which is not the ethical thing to do. Go out there with a green vest and pretend like you're from the.
No, never, not doing that. But you got to be careful on these curb strips too. I'm telling you, you can get clipped.
I know. All right, Rob. So we've been on here long enough. So I know these people are dying for our giveaway, and we're going to do a couple things. So Rob showed you the book. So whoever wins tonight's giveaway is not only going to win a book, but they're also going to win an XP Deus 2 hat or an XP hat with the 25th anniversary on the side of it. It's a nice black hat. I'm going to be giving away that. Rob's going to be giving away the book. And Rob's got one other special giveaway. Rob, you want to show them what that's going to be?
Well, it's actually two. Okay, so I have an XP T-shirt, which is a 3XL T-shirt.
Right.
Okay, and a XP Polo shirt, which is a double XL. And this is leftover merch from the Swing Into Summer event that
and Rob
XP
was at
donated.
The Swing Into Summer event, and he gave away some stuff from XP, as well as gave away a metal detector at the Swing Into Summer.
XP donated a Deus 2. They donated an MI6, and I donated a gold coin to that event. That was a great event run by the Illinois-Iowa Digger Metal Detecting Club, Chuck Smalley, Josh Kimmel. Some of you know them. Barbara was there. Barbara's in the she was there. Yeah. It was a great event.
Yeah, it is. And of course, I don't live in the Midwest. I live down here in the South. But Rob filled me in on all the comings and goings of that event, and it sounded like it was awesome. And I know Rob was happy to go and represent XP at that event. And again, just I know we're getting ready to do the giveaway, but we are going to have a great live stream with another great giveaway next Friday night. So please make sure that you're here. We're going to have Detecting with Jessie on here. She is from the UK. She's going to be sharing her adventures in the UK running the XP DS2 and what she likes about the XP DS2, what's it like hunting over in the UK. She's going to be on here. She does some great cinematography. She does some great camera work. So you guys definitely want to go check out her channel. But we'll have all that information shared as we get closer to that live stream next Friday night. And also, too, if you guys aren't aware, and I know most of you are, but I am found on all social media platforms, which you can see up here: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm also on X, too. I didn't put X up there, but you can find me pretty much everywhere. So if you want to go and subscribe to any of those other social media platforms.
And I do know I have Brian's OnlyFans URL for those of you that want to see him there.
I don't have an OnlyFans. I don't.
No,
that's more Rob. Rob's a little more fit than I am. So that's the Rizzo's thing. That's why they call him.
No, the discrimination's open wide, and we'll save that for another show.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I do have all of those. I can be found on all those social media platforms. Please go and check those out. Some of it is the same content. Some of it's a little bit different. We do some different things on different channels. So go check those out. As always, go check out my buddy Mike at LMS Metal Detecting for all your metal detecting needs. Mike can get you hooked up with anything and everything metal detecting related. And Mike is just super to deal with. Great service after the sale. If you're interested in the HF2 coil or you're interested in anything metal detecting related, Mike can get you hooked up. And he is a wonderful person to deal with. He's here in South Carolina. He's a good friend of mine. He's who I started metal detecting with when I first started. And so super excited to be affiliated with Mike and LMS Metal Detecting. So please, please, please go check his page out. All of his information is scrolling across the bottom. He's got a wonderful website, very intuitive, easy to navigate. You can find anything and everything there. And we really, really, really appreciate Mike as a great supporter of the channel. So, and look, we've got Sasquatch himself is on here. He says, "What's going on, guys?" So he got done with whatever he was doing. And
Michael, your role is safe.
Yeah,
your job is 100% safe, brother. Trust me, Brian's not going to talk to me for weeks after this.
Whatever, dude. We are so excited. Before we do our giveaway, so excited that Rob came on here tonight and filled in for Michael. And we'll have Rob back on too throughout the year and have him on as another special guest coming up soon too, as he's always wonderful to have on and does a great job. Very informative, very intuitive, just a wealth of knowledge as he always is. And I'm so lucky to have him as a good friend of mine. And I really appreciate him taking his time out on a Friday night when he has family in town as well. So again, thanks, Rob, for being here. I know everyone on here appreciates you joining in. And anybody that watches this replay, they're going to be sad that they missed out on this live talk tonight too, Rob.
I hear you. I hear you. But 90% of it's still good. The information has some legs, right? But
maybe not the looks part, but the information is really
true.
good. Right?
The legs, I already told him. I told him the OnlyFans thing. Again, I have the URL for that, folks.
Right.
Michael didn't know Brian expanded into OnlyFans. He'll have to watch the replay for that.
Yeah. Whatever.
Oh, we should get on with this giveaway.
Yeah, let's do this giveaway so Rob can get off of here. So we're giving away a hat, we're giving away a book, and we're giving away a shirt. And you can take your choice. Rob, show them the two shirts.
We'll do it that way. And the sizes are different. One's a T-shirt. I think the T-shirt was XXL.
XXL.
Okay. And the polo is a XXL.
Right.
Okay,
Show them
and
the
they
shirt again so they can see it's a day is it's a
okay,
day
so
is
that's
shirt, right?
polo. Yep.
Polo.
Sorry. And this is a black. Gosh, it has the Deus logo on there. I promise you. There it is. It has XP.
Oh, it has an XP logo.
XP logo.
Okay.
Okay.
I haven't seen that one before. That's a new one to me. So you got to be special to get that shirt.
So yeah, you can have your choice of that, and I'll throw in the book as well as we'll throw in some caution. You know, these are my famous. I'll send a bundle of these as well. These are
Okay.
stickers, okay? And you can either contact Brian, the winner of that, send him your email, he'll forward it to me, or send whoever the winner is, thehistorydigger@gmail.com.
Right. And if you win, you can we'll just make it simple, Rob. They can just send me their address, as well as a phone number, and just make sure that you send it to sransc@gmail.com. And then we will forward that to Rob. And then also too, I will mail out your hat as well. And I really like these new hats, Rob, and Rob's wearing one right now, which I think they look a lot better than the big red and black ones, and they are adjustable, as you can see in the back. But a super, super nice hat from XP. Again, we've got a lot of information too to share coming up next week as well. I believe that Garrett is working on the Vortex. For those of you that have the Vortex, we're hoping we're going to hear something from Nocta at some point. They've assured me that they're going to let me know when something's going on there. So we will have some information from Nocta. My lab is sort of quiet right now. So, always, you never know what's going to happen with Mind Lab. Of course, you guys know I've used the Manicore on a few of my hunts. One of the hunts that I'm going to have a video of will show the Manicore as well. So you guys will get to see all these machines. I've got some great video coming with the Vortex for those of you that have that machine.
You shared a really good article about that Nocta PI machine. I saw that on your group page. I think it was from one of their Australian
it was from, and we did a whole live stream on talking about that PI machine too. So we're hoping we'll get more clarification on that as we go on, and be able to share you a little more information as to what's going on with that, as well as any other stuff from Nocta, which they've said that they're going to let me know when something's going to happen, but we're going to get that information to you. So let's do this giveaway, Rob. And again, if you win tonight, please, please, please make sure that you share with me your contact information, your address as well, so we can get that shipped out to you. And good luck to whoever wins tonight. And Rob, I'm going to let you call it. What do you want our hashtag to be?
Okay. I think in honor of the great find from our great friends, how about hashtag gold ring?
Hashtag gold ring. Okay. I like that. I could go with that.
Yeah, space or no space?
No space. Hashtag
gold, no space ring.
Gold ring. And that is going to be our hashtag for tonight. So
ClickBank Boom was on it right away.
Yeah, they're
very good
here. So select tab. Let's share that. And let's start collecting. And there it is. Hashtag gold ring. Let's make sure it's working. Hopefully I didn't put a space between. I don't think I did.
No.
Let's see if it'll pop up. It sometimes takes it a second.
And you're going to pick, are you picking two winners is what you're going to do? Who's the first?
Just picking one winner. They get the book, the shirt, and
awesome. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to do one. And right now it's not coming up. I might have to go back and put it in again. Let's do it again. Let's go. Hashtag gold ring.
Oh, they're still coming in.
Oh, they're coming in. It's okay. There we go. 25 entries. Chris put in hashtag let me win Aggie. As Aggie always wins. She's won a few times on here, but she's got a good bit of competition tonight, as we got a lot of people on here.
There's one person here put in hashtag OnlyFans.
Yeah. Was that Michael?
That one. Michael must have done that one.
That had to be Michael.
Michael.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Wow. Again, guys, we appreciate y'all joining the show tonight. Thank y'all so much for being here. It's always a fun time. We feel like we have one of the best audiences on YouTube, and we do a lot of special things. We talk a lot of different types of information. I don't think Rob and I even expected to talk as much about permissions tonight, but we did. It was all good. So I appreciate you guys, and hopefully you got something great out of this show, and it's something that you can take with you and use on your next adventure, whether it be getting a permission, whether it be running the machine, whether it be finding something. Hopefully it's something that you guys can share. So again, we're going to do this giveaway, and then we're going to check out of here. But again, thank y'all so much for being here tonight and joining me and Mr. Rob Rizzo, the History Digger, as we love being here on a Friday night and sharing our time with you guys.
Great group.
Yeah,
Great group.
it's
all right.
awesome,
Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, it's an awesome group as well. And again, I feel like we've got one of the most interactive communities out there, definitely, for sure. So again, we appreciate you guys. So right now we've only got 29 people. Now we got 46 people in this room, and only 29 people have entered, which is interesting. Make sure too, before you leave tonight, you hit that like button, as it helps with the algorithm, helps the channel out, and gets us out there and exposed to a few more people. But again, definitely do that. And we appreciate Rob participating tonight, the History Digger, and the giveaway. And we've got another special giveaway coming next week. So you definitely want to make sure you tune in for that. And we've got another special guest next week. And we'll have Michael back too. And Rob will probably join us via chat, maybe, if he gets an opportunity. And yes, hit that thumbs up button. We would greatly appreciate it, as we feel like we do a lot. And go check out our channel too. If you're new here and it's your first time, go check out Rob's channel, the History Digger, as he's got a wealth of information on his YouTube channel. He's also found on Instagram and Facebook as well. Go check out our dual channel, the Detecting with Rookies. If you're new metal detectorist and you want to learn more about the hobby, we've got that page over there on Facebook. So again, there's a lot of great information, and Rob does a wonderful job. Very knowledgeable, and Rob and I bounce ideas, information off of each other, and that's why we're so familiar with each other, in case you're wondering.
There's some good tips there, quite honestly, for the advanced detectorist. It's a lot of the information is focused towards the rookie, but we're getting really good feedback. And Brian and I do our best to try to keep that site free of, some of the scam stuff, and there are very few action videos. It's really an educational site. Metal detecting for rookies. If you get a chance, check that one out too.
Right. And we've got so many great people on here, like people like Bells, just congratulating Edward G on his find. I mean, we're all positive. We're all upbeat on here, and again, that's what makes our channel special. Is because of the group of people that we have surrounded ourselves with. And again, that's why I love doing what we do, Rob. And that's why I love this group.
Amen.
Yes. Detector 2 Guns is in the house. He says Florida's in the house. Glad to have you in here joining in late. Get in for the giveaway. # gold ring. And we're going to be giving away a book, a shirt, and a hat, all from Rob and I. As we have collaborated on this giveaway for tonight. So we're going to give them a few more minutes, Rob. We got 31 people in here, and 31 entries so far. And Damien says our goal is to get Brian arrested by the FCC. What? Damien. Damien, I just want to know, have you got your HF2 coil on order? He's talked all this nonsense, but he hasn't told me if he's going to get an HF2 coil. So we'll see. There's David Two Guns, hashtag Gold Ring. Damien's a good friend of ours, lives close by, and we appreciate Damien as well. He always likes to joke and cut up. It's a lot of fun. He says, no, not yet. Well, Damien, you've seen what I've been finding with this. My question is, why ain't anybody else finding these kinds of things with this? That's what I want to know. Especially some of these YouTubers that have this HF2 coil. So anyway, glad to have Damien here tonight, and we appreciate Damien. So we got 32, Rob, so far. We'll give it one more minute, and then we're going to do our drawing.
Well, someone that's been on pretty much the whole live chat, Barbara Dirt Pirate, I'm just going to get her a shout out. If you're not familiar with her, and especially what she does around the holidays with the children's giveaway, please look her up. And, you know, a lot of us have, oh gosh, an extra pinpointer. Maybe we want to, you know, an extra detector or something like that. She will soon be reaching out, most likely for donations for her giveaway. But this is all for the kids, and it's a wonderful thing.
Right.
And
Barbara has been a regular on here for us too over the last few weeks, and very, very into our chats, and we appreciate her.
She does more for the hobby, I think, than people know. So I had an opportunity to spend some time and get to know her a little better at the Swing into Summer event. So, Barbara, we appreciate you.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Barbara. Thank you so much. Barbara says that she has a Facebook page called Outcast Metal Detecting. So go check her out on Facebook. And again, we appreciate her being here with us tonight. And thank you, Barbara, for sharing that information with us. We appreciate that. And we got 33, Rob. And I think we're gonna
shut
the thing off, and let's do this drawing. What do you think?
All right, let's go for it. That's a good number. Right. Hashtag gold ring.
Hashtag gold ring. Last call. Going once. Going twice. Sold. Yes. Ferris Gump says 354 subs, counting me now. So help her get more. Definitely. Go check out Barbara. It's all for the people that I've been booed from. Barbara, you're always welcome here. Okay. We see and we know what you're doing, and we appreciate you. So let's do this drawing, Rob. Let's get this going.
All right.
And let's see who's going to be our lucky winner tonight. We got 33 entries, and we're going to do that drawing. And here we go, Rob. Let's see who's going to be our lucky winner tonight. Gary's Digs. Gary, you are the lucky winner of the hat, shirt, and book, Civil War relic. Hunt, show it again, Rob.
Awesome.
Yeah. Right. So interpreting history from relics found in the Civil War. A lot of good information in there. So hopefully Gary's here. Gary, you got to respond. If you don't respond, we're going to do this drawing over. So congratulations, Gary. Gary must have been one of those silent guys. I didn't see many comments from Gary, but that's okay too. Yes, he says thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Gary, definitely come on here more and be interactive. We love having people on here as well. So again, thank y'all so much. And Gary, congratulations. Gary, the only thing I need you to do is to share your mailing address with sransc@gmail.com. Also include a phone number as well. And Rob and I will get these prizes out to you. And congratulations on a great win tonight. And that's a super prize. And Rob and I are so thankful that we were able to do that and provide you guys with something for being a part of our show and being here tonight. So we really appreciate that. So, Rob, any closing thoughts as we get out of here?
Well, congratulations, Gary, and Michael. Thank you for letting me, fill the seat. Big shoes to fill. I appreciate it. As I said, your job is safe. Your job is safe.
Yeah.
I will see you all in the chat next week. This is one I'm not going to miss. And Brian, my friend, always a pleasure to spend
Dude,
time with you.
always great. And you and I know we just have fun, and having fun. We would have never met because of metal detecting, and this brought us together.
Yep.
Hopefully, like the idea with Edward G and Ferris Grump coming together, we all become part of one community, and this is one big community. You guys have created this, not necessarily me. You've just come to one place where we can all talk, have fun, be ourselves, share some information, help each other out, and just have a good time. And that's what it's all about ultimately. And we really, really, really appreciate that. Ferris Grump, thank you so much. You're always so generous, but we appreciate you, buddy. And we really thank you for that donation. All donations definitely go back to our channel, makes the live stream possible, makes the cameras that Rob talked about possible, for the videos, all the other things. So any of those types of things, whether it be a super sticker or super thanks, definitely go and help out our channel and makes all these great things possible. And we appreciate Rob taking his time out on a Friday night, being away from his family and just being here with us too. So we appreciate him giving his time tonight. So thank you again, Rob. And again, we appreciate.
I want to also thank my stepfather for he threatened to streak in the background. He was going to run. He didn't do that. So trust me, you all want to thank him for that too. But I'll end on that note, folks. So thanks a lot.
All right, guys. Take care. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Go out and find some amazing things. Hopefully you got something from tonight's show, something you can take back and use. We appreciate that. And we look forward to seeing you on our next adventure and on our next live stream. Thank you guys so much. We'll check you soon. See you next Friday night for the live stream. Don't forget, great giveaway coming next Friday, and we will see you then. Take care, guys. Have a good night.